Well, a very frequent question that I get asked is, can we see a home tour? What does your house actually look like? And so today I want to welcome you into my home and show you what it looks like. Now, a couple things. We live in an old 1700s farmhouse. So part of this house was built in the 1700s. The rest of it was built in the early 1800s. So it has seen a lot of years. And I often wish the walls could talk. I wonder, like, what would the walls say? What would all the stones say if it could talk? We do have solid stone walls, so our windows are, I think Josh said 18 inches deep, making perfect window seats in a lot of places, as you will see. This is gonna be fun, a little bit of a different video. And I do just also wanna say before we get started that yes, we do live in a very large house, and I feel like a lot of the time, that's what people wish for and dream of and even envy sometimes, which is not good. Personally, I would choose a little bit of a smaller house because I think what a lot of those people don't realize is also the amount of work that goes into, like, just a regular Saturday clean will take the entire day. Same goes for the yard. To mow the entire yard, you have pretty much a day in it. And so it is definitely not always easy to have a larger home. However, we are grateful to be here and just really long to steward it well and hopefully really exercise the gift of hospitality and make a lot of people feel welcome in the space that we have. So let's get started. I will not be showing like hallways, stairways, that kind of thing, just for privacy. I'll keep the layout of our home private, but I will be showing you most of the rooms in the home. So why don't we start off in the kitchen that you all are so familiar with, and then we'll go from there. So when we moved into our home, goodness, what is that now? Almost 6 years ago, the kitchen was one of the first things that we redid. I wish I had good footage to show you of what it was like before, but we've done a lot of work in here, and I feel like the style that I wanted to go in our home has shifted some since we moved. And so honestly, I would do some things different if we were to redo it now, but I love it. I love how bright it is, love the tall ceilings in our home, and then of course, natural lighting as well. So those are some of the things that I really love. A couple things that I want to show you that are kind of unique to how we designed this kitchen. First up is my flower drawer. I've had so many people that absolutely love this. It is just a big, almost bin. That's a drawer that I can dump an entire bag of flour in. This would not be a good option, by the way, if you do not go through flour quickly, because you don't want, like, sometimes you can get like little worms or something if it's not actually sealed off. We go through flour very quickly, so that is not usually a problem for us, but it is something to keep in mind if you have a really small family or if you don't go through flour quickly. And then second of all is my spices drawer. We designed this to perfectly fit these little Amazon spice containers, and it's just a really handy place to have spices. I feel like otherwise we're pretty generic other than how tall our cupboards are, and this space, of course, you see a lot. I want to show you some angles here that we don't often film in because of the backlighting here, but this window is one of my very favorite things about the kitchen. I love the view. That's where the pasture is down to all the pregnant cows. They're roaming around. You'll see a cow start to go into labor, and then you also have these beautiful fields in front that are just, I love it. It's one of my favorite things to wash dishes, look out there across to the fields. And then on the other side here is a piano that we picked up for free on Facebook Marketplace. Now, I like how this one looked. There's a lot of pianos I didn't really care for the look of them. However, we still never got it tuned, which we really need to do. And then one of the keys does not work. And so I've heard that you can get that fixed. Something we need to look into, but the kids love playing this piano nonetheless. And then this is also where I store a lot of my cookbooks, my planner, my notebook, those kinds of things. A little bit of a storage area. And then I also really love keeping a candle at this spot. This little nook is kind of my coffee corner. We have our coffee grinder, our electric kettle, our French press, as well as my Vitamix, and I have all these plugged in underneath this little console table. We have a couple of jars of things here, and then this is where I love to store my freeze-dried items. So we have a lot of freeze-dried things, as well as some baking staples like chocolate chips, peanuts, sugar, rolled oats, brown sugar, and then we have our coffee beans here. This area gets used a ton, and I'm actually, Josh wants to build me another shelf up higher to start storing a lot of things from the garden, so a lot of freeze-dried herbs and things like that. I just love having them on display very easy access. So in a couple weeks, hopefully we'll have a third shelf here to keep adding to that collection. And then underneath here, I don't think you can see that on video, but there's a shelf under this console table that has a basket of potatoes and onions and that kind of thing. And then I also have another big bowl here that's currently empty, but I love having apples, bananas, things like that. And I purposely store those at the bottom so that they're within the kids' reach and just a healthy snack option that when they start getting hungry, often they'll go grab a piece of fruit from there, and it's fruit versus a lot of other things that I could be storing down at ground level for them. This is another area that you've definitely seen before. This is my pantry, which is currently looking fairly empty. We try to fill this completely with canned goods from the garden through the growing season, but we are definitely nearing the end before we start canning season all over again. We do still have a bunch of ketchup and salsa, and that's pretty much it. A couple random jars of other things. I have been stocking up a lot of granola, which I think I showed you in a couple videos ago for this wedding next week. And I have another jar of rice here. These are some platters right now that we're saving for the wedding. And then the one under here also just has a bunch of storage stuff. I have a huge 5-gallon bucket of coconut oil down there, my toaster, my apple cider vinegar, things like that. The dining room is the heart of the home, as you might say, right? Actually, I think the kitchen is, but a lot of good times happen right here around this long table. This dining room table is one that Josh built for me for our wedding. So it is currently just over 13 years old. It extends to 15 or 16 feet, and so you can seat a lot of people around here, and we've just had so many good family times with friends, just seated right here around the table. This mirror has been such a fun accent piece. I'm still not entirely sure if I'm gonna keep it in here. Y'all can let me know in the comments below if you think it suits this area well, but I do love just, I don't know, it adds a sense of like elegance and charm, I would say, to this area. Love the detail of that around there. The chairs, by the way, have just been thrifted and then refinished. This stool, I think we thrifted as well. This chair is a really special piece for me because my grandpa built this before he passed away. It can either be used as a stepping stool, or you can flip it over like this and just use it as another chair at the table. These wall hangings I get questions about sometimes, and I purchased the actual print off of Etsy, imported them into Canva, and then added texts, which are different Bible verses that are significant to our family, and then printed them as staples, and then Mod Podged them into these frames. So it's a little bit of a DIY process, but I love how they turned out, and I love having scripture on the walls of our home. My goodness, some of these corners are a little bit difficult to film because of all the backlighting there. Hopefully it's not too washed out. This bookshelf is actually one that Josh built when he was just a young boy, 9-10 years old, I believe. And so that is really special to still have it as good quality. I'm telling you, that man learned to love high quality furniture at a very young age. But on here, I just have a bunch of pieces, most of them pieces for hosting. So I have some special dishes here, a lot of them with gold rims and things, some different little platters, pitchers, that kind of thing. I have my candles here. Speaking of candles, I have an incredible sale to tell you about here with Antique Candle Co. They are sponsoring this portion of today's video. And as you know, I love these candles. I've been burning them in our home now for months and months and months, maybe a year by now, and just really been happy with them. They are clean everything, so clean wax, clean wick, all the things, clean scent, and their scents are incredible. This is one of those things that I personally have just been gifting left and right to friends and family. And I know so many of you have also been loving these, and so I'm really excited to tell you about their summer sale, which is coming up starting tomorrow. So the day after this video goes live, June 17. So set your alarms. All summer scents will be 30% off. All spring scents will be 40% off. And so it's just an incredible time to stock up. Now, I pulled a couple of my favorites from these collections that will be on sale. I have with me Sweet Lemon, Almond Vanilla. Y'all know that I am a sucker for anything with vanilla. So Almond Vanilla and Main Street Bakery are definitely my top two favorites. They also have Vanilla Raspberry, Vanilla Lavender. I don't have those on hand right now, but I also really love those scents, especially the raspberry one. And then we have Strawberry Mango, Pina Colada, Sun-Kissed Citrus. This is a very popular one, and so much more. This is definitely not all the candles that they have in this sale, but these are some that I had on hand and that I really love. So I hope that that helps you out. I will leave the link for that in the description box below. Again, set your alarms for tomorrow morning, and hopefully you can snag some of your favorites from the summer and spring collections as well. And then on the next shelf here, we have our picnic baskets, big ones and little ones, as well as a couple little baskets that the kids use to gather eggs. And then in the bottom, I have a couple more baskets with tablecloths, fabric napkins, things like that. This mirror actually has a similar frame to the one that I just showed you. This one was just thrifted. This is another very frequently used room in our house throughout the winter. We love cozying up around a good fire right here. This is, by the way, also a cooking oven, if you will. So this part of the house was built in the 1700s. We do have a beehive oven back here that we've been really enjoying making brick oven pizza in. And I think it would also be fun to bake some bread in there sometime. Haven't done that yet. It also has this cooking pot over here that you could cook a soup or something over the fire. So that's really fun. With it being a bigger opening here, it's sometimes difficult knowing how to style this, so I painted the interior of this black so that it wouldn't show smoke stains as easy, and then the process of painting the exterior here I just redid a couple months ago, and I think I showed that maybe on Instagram. That was the whole process to kind of get this like stone look, but I love how it turned out. We store our Bibles and devotional book up here, and then just put some candles. This wall hanging is just off of Amazon, but I love how it looks on here, and I feel like it suits the space well. And then of course our sectional. I wanted a sectional in here to just kind of give that cozy feel. This isn't our like formal living room area, and so it just is, I don't know, it just feels a little bit more casual. And then behind the sectional here is just our little office area with two spots. So Josh and I both like to do office work here. This calendar is game changer. So it is a dry erase calendar, so you can change it according to the months. This is actually from last month. Haven't even caught up to this one yet, but we all look to this so many times per week and just see what's coming up, and so that has been really nice. I'll try to remember to link the shop in the description box below. It's from an Etsy shop. Okay, this room you have seen so many times. We homeschool in this room, we plant seeds in this room, we sometimes actually eat meals in here as well, but for some reason the audio cut out in here, so I'm just doing this voiceover. You have seen this gallery wall many times, and it's one of the most asked about walls, so I will try to leave that link in the description box where all of that is linked as well. We did recently move our freeze dryer because William kept moving or pressing buttons. So hopefully sometime we can move it back up here. I love it here, but this is how it is for now. This is our tiny little laundry room that we definitely have visions of what we'd like to see this become at some point. Right now you have some cords going on there and a not very nice utility sink and things like that, but it definitely serves its purpose and gets used usually at least once every day. Off of the laundry area, we actually have a tiny little bathroom here. It's so little it's hard to film, but you kind of get the picture there. We have a nice big window here again, which I love. You can see my wash line out there, and then there is also a bathtub and shower behind the door. This area is technically our formal living room. It does not get used near as much as the fireplace area that I was just showing you, but we do love this space, especially when we have company, sit around and visit. And then of course we also make really good use of all of these books in the book wall. I shared this back when we built this bookcase, but we wanted this to look like a built-in bookcase. Josh actually built this for me, and we got the trim custom made to match the original trim in the house, and I feel like it just looks like it always was there and has become a really useful place just to store all of these books, a couple plants and things like that. These two chairs are years old now from Article. I don't know, I don't think they still have them in stock, and then these are even older from a Costco like wholesale place. And then this is our bedroom. I'm trying to think of in each room the questions that I get most for like where things are from. This duvet is definitely one of them. And this one is from Parachute Home, also a couple years old, but we really, really love it. And I love how like fluffy and puffy it looks with these little bubbles in it. And then our linen pillowcases as well as sheet set is from Brooklinen. When we first moved into this room, I painted everything white, bright white trim, bright white ceiling, walls, all of it. And I've since been just discovering a little bit more exactly what style I'm going for, not quite as minimal. So we've been adding a little bit of color, but I'm actually not done. So part of my room has the baseboards, the trim painted, part of it does not. Like I said, all of these rooms are still definitely a work in progress. This tree is a real tree. I think it's a fiscus, I don't know, something like that. Got a lot of questions on the wall color of our closet doors, which by the way, I love how these closet doors look, and our dresser matches this, but this is actually a custom color. So I wish I could give you the name of it, but we actually took our headboard fabric sample into the paint store and just asked them to color match it. So they have it on our file now, and we can go back and have actually been painting some other things this color, but I don't have a name for it. So I apologize, I can't help you out more than that. Our most recent bedroom makeover has been the boys' room, and it's been such a fun project. The star of the show here, I feel like, is the wallpaper. Adds such a fun vintage feel to the room, and this is from Loomwell. And then their beds were actually a little bit of a funny story. So I've had this bed for William since before he was born. It's a mini crib from Namesake Home, and so I was looking and looking and looking for beds for the boys' room. I wanted something that would at least coordinate. I spent so much time looking for beds for their room until I went back to Namesake Home and saw that they have a lot of convertible cribs that actually turn into a full-size bed. And so I was like, oh, that could be a fun idea. So we went and ordered the exact same bed in a convertible crib. We actually got two of them because William is about outgrown this. Put it together, and here it was a full-size bed. I was thinking it was a twin size, so we were not sure what to do with the situation until Josh looked at it closer and figured he could probably actually cut the metal on this bed and turn the full-size bed into a twin-sized bed. Hudson's bedding is from Quilts. It is also linen. Love linen bedding, by the way. And then these quilts that they both have. William has like a baby quilt, and then Hudson's is I think it's called the toddler quilt on their website. And I cannot remember the name of the shop that I got these from, but I'll try to remember to link that for you in the description box below. Their curtains are from Amazon. I loved the pleated tops and then how well that coordinated with the wallpaper as well. And then over here you can see a little bit with the depth of our windows, there is plenty of room for window seats. So I put a couple of window seats in this room, and that's just a really fun spot. Hudson likes to sit up there in the morning and read his Bible, looking out the window. And then I think the boys' favorite part of this room is their shelf of tractors. Since Hudson's been probably 2 years old, he has had tractor birthdays every single year. He absolutely loves his tractor. He's a farmer at heart. And so I wanted to incorporate that into his bedroom. I found this shelf on Amazon, and it fits most of his tractors perfectly. There's a couple bigger ones that we had to put on the side, and then this is actually the same little shelf that I have for my little tinctures in my cupboard downstairs. It fits these little tiny tractors really well. So that's fun. We have some pictures of him on the tractor, which is fun, and then a couple of his books. And then we just hung his little ukulele here. I wanted a pop of color, so we painted the closet doors the same color blue as the curtains are, and I think it just turned out to be a really fun, cozy space for the boys. They really, really love it, and hopefully this will be a space that they just continue to make lots of wonderful memories over the next couple of years. Moving into the girls' room, so not to be outdone by the boys, the girls also are sharing a room, and they've been absolutely loving it. We used to have them in separate rooms more, and they were asking to all share a room, so we moved them all in here, and they have been having a blast. I have such good memories of sharing a bedroom with my sisters growing up. I'm so excited to see them creating a lot of the same memories. Their beds are not quite matching. The two on the ends are matching. This one's a little bit different, but we put matching bedding on, which I feel like brings them all together. And this bedding is actually from Amazon. It is that cotton gauze fabric, so super comfortable. The roof on their room is much lower, but I feel like it just adds a really cozy feel with all the windows still and then all the matching beds, and they just have the absolute best time in here. This bathroom is a bit of a work in progress. I love all the closet space here, but then we actually still need to finish the window trim over here. Hopefully we can get that done before the wedding. But I feel like just kind of as a whole, this bathroom could use a little bit of help with both design and just like cosmetic details like the trim there, but it functions, so that's the main point, right? It does also have a full shower and bath in here. This bathroom you just saw us painting pretty recently. It's been so nice to use it painted like this. This shower curtain, I've been getting questions about it. It is from Amber Interior, Amber Home, something like that. I love it. It feels really high quality, but it is definitely a little bit more of an investment piece. First of all, I love the design of this, but I also wanted something that could accommodate our tall ceilings, and they actually had it in a really tall size, so it was perfect. Another beautiful big window here. Oh, and I guess I forgot to say that there's a bathtub and shower in this one as well. So this one is definitely our biggest bathroom, even though it's still not huge. And then moving into our guest space. So this one obviously has been one that we've been working really hard at here leading up to my sister's wedding. It's an area that I've been working on over years, so I often try to like improve one or two things before we have company that time. So there's still definitely things that I would like to improve here and just make more and more accommodating to guests, but we have also come a long way from where we were. So let me show you around a little bit. This is a little seating area here in kind of the main area. This sectional we actually just purchased from Cheetah Home, and I feel like fits this space well. These end pieces are actually like storage ottomans, so that's really nice to give a little bit of extra storage up here. And then the chest here is one that Josh built for me years ago, which is really fun. The rug was one that we had in the little girls' room back when they had their own room. And then there's just a tiny little kind of kitchenette area. That's kind of stretching it though. We have two little mini fridges, and then there's a toaster oven. There's a couple of, I think, tea or coffee bags in here. Athletic Greens and Element maybe, but just gives that tiny little kitchen option. This is definitely our biggest guest bedroom. The bedding here is from Amazon, the duvet cover. I think the linen sheets are also from Brooklinen. And then the beautiful wall painting was actually done by my sister Tanya, the one who had cancer. A lot of you have been asking how she's doing, and she actually just finished chemo a couple weeks ago. So we are just praising the Lord that that journey hopefully is behind us forever now, and she's doing really, really well. And it's been so special just to have all of them around here over the past couple of weeks. These little side tables, I think I picked them up at a yard sale actually, and then the little lamps are from Amazon. Okay, in the other end of the room, we just put this little desk here, and then it has some built-in bookshelves there for books, or if they want to use it as extra closet space, of course, they're welcome to. Another teeny tiny bathroom up here, but this one is specifically for our guests, so we don't really use this one. There is a full bathtub shower in here, and then a little toilet back here, and a cupboard where I usually keep some towels and things like that. This is one of my very favorite areas in this guest space. This bedroom is so tiny, but it is so cozy. Let me show you around. There's no dressers in this room. There's not actually room for dressers. It would literally be this space right here. So if you open this side of the cupboard, there's actually, and I probably shouldn't be messing in their stuff, but it has these shelves that you can kind of use in place of a dresser. And then the closet doors next to that here has room for actual clothes. And then moving over, there's the bed, and it's literally this small. There's a window, by the way, you get beautiful morning sunlight in here. The view out of this window is one of the best in our entire house. Josh built this, I don't even know what you call that, but built that wall, and I feel like it adds so much character in here. These wall hangings are you know, to look nice, but that one also hides a giant like electric box. So it's a little bit ulterior motives behind that one. And then we don't have a dresser like I said before, but I just added this mirror from Hobby Lobby. I love that it had kind of that vintage feel, and that one is just straight across from the bed. And now for the final room up here in our guest space is the bunk room. These bunks, plus actually another one on top, it was 3-tiered tall that used to be in the kids' room when there was only 3 kids and they all shared a room. But we moved them up here into this space. Just kind of maximizes the space as this is a pretty small room as well. We do, however, have a good bit of closet space there, which is really nice. And then we also moved this dresser, which is just thrifted, but moved that in here as well. Fun fact, apparently in the olden days, they would just hang their clothes on all these hooks. So it literally has hooks all the way around like half of the room. And that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the rooms in our house. I didn't show you all of our like food storage. We have a big like pantry area in the basement as well as some freezers and things. I was thinking of possibly making that into a separate video. Let me know if you would be interested in seeing that, or I can just scratch that idea because the lighting down there is terrible. But if you would enjoy seeing that, let me know and I'll see if I can put that in. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sure some of you were like, oh my word, I would change this, this, and this. Hopefully maybe some of the rest of you gained some design inspiration or just enjoyed following along and seeing how far we've come so far. But either way, I hope you enjoyed being here, were inspired. Don't forget to check out Antique Candle Company for their summer sale, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, friends.
Golden, golden thing.